Hello you guys, welcome back to episode 7 of In the Vault with Ali and Shane. Shane, I hope you've put your camera up a little bit this week.
I feel like it might be too high. I feel like I'm like talking up.
I think mine is too, but I'm scared because honestly, the double chins that have been coming out in the social posts, my sister literally called me out the other day and it's like, you don't look like the same person in your podcast post. You don't actually look like you. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna lift it up. And also we got called too funny.
Yeah, rude. The chins were chinning, like call me out. The good thing is like my body dysmorphia has practically evaporated after starting the podcast.
When you are filming yourself, you are constantly looking at yourself as well. So you're looking at every little problem. And so is everyone else.
You're like, I'm looking at it and so is everyone else that's watching me.
Because I remember when I first started content creation, people pick out little insecurities that you're like,
new insecurity unlocked. It's like, do you notice you say this with this inflection and it's wrong? And it's like, what?
Shane's a little bit hungy.
I am. I'm a bit hungover today, guys. So I've been drinking 3 days in a row, which is so rough as someone in their 30s. One wine goes far. I'm an easy drunk. And I had about 10 wines and that was game over. I was dry reaching when I got home. I was like, oh.
You're probably dehydrated.
Yeah, it wasn't cute. It wasn't cute.
Like
I got in the car with Josh today to go get a banh mi for lunch and I could feel the world around me moving. I've been loving Zendaya on this little Spider-Man press tour. Have you seen the looks she's been turning out?
No, but she always...
She's been eating... Laura Roach has been working overtime. She has been carrying this spider web theme throughout all of her looks on the press tour. And she wore one... I think the images just came out today and it looked like a black and grey cloudy dress and it had silver chainmail on the back with like little spiders on it. I thought it was so cute and considered.
I love an on-film moment. I think Margot Robbie's really good at it too.
In a non-tacky way.
The only thing I'd say about Spider-Man is how many more times can we recreate this
I don't
movie?
know, to be really frank, that I've watched any of the new Spider-Mans. I love the like Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans.
Me too.
So and like James Franco Spider-Man, so I'm hesitant to watch these ones.
And are they just doing the same movies
No,
over again?
I think
his
they're like...
parents die, he gets bitten by a spider.
I think they're different. I think it's like different universes. It's the multiverse. He's a different iteration. So all those Spider-Mans exist in their own universe. Yeah, it gets quite laid, but also like, okay, can we just make up universes now? Is that where we're at? To like justify the regurgitation of something.
Actually, have you seen that Drake just came out with a list of reasons why he's still single?
Yes, I saw that.
Let me read you some of the things that he said. He's a lover boy doll. 1, I'm a massive overthinker. 2, I care too deeply. 3, I'm a be safe type of guy. Message me when you get home. Have a good night type of guy. 4, I have so much energy. 5, I give my all to the people who don't give me half back. 6, I would do anything to make someone happy, even if it means I get hurt in the process. 7, I'll push you away when I feel like the energy isn't reciprocated. 8, I need reassurance all the time. And 9, I love old school romance, and that's just not a thing for our generation. Aren't you 40?
And also, like, those are all just such twatty things to say. Sorry, Drake, you are not the perfect guy. We know that.
It's giving, I'm a nice guy. Why am I finishing last?
And we've all seen...
That's what that's
we've all
giving.
seen your penis online. Like, you're clearly not that old school if you're sending nudes left, right, and centre. Let's cut the act here.
Remember when Rihanna and him were really good friends? And then she won a Grammy. And he made it all about himself and put billboards up. He was making it all about him. He was almost making her win about him because people were obviously going to report on it. Do you believe in aliens?
I don't know, doll. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we exist. So what's stopping other things from existing?
They have come out in America and said they do exist.
Yeah.
Which, can I just say, they came out and said that they existed. And it was kind of random that everyone was just like, oh, okay. It wasn't like huge news. Yeah. And I'm like, isn't this something we've kind of been fighting for a long time to know if they exist? And they've kind of been like, they exist. Yeah,
so on the morning of April 6, 1966, students and staff at Westall High School in Clayton South looked up in the sky and saw a silver grey object described as a disc shaped 2 stories in height, huge, and moving at speeds no known aircraft could match. It descended behind a row of pine trees towards an open area called the Grange, then vanished. Some reported seeing up to 3 objects. 5 light aircrafts appeared to be chasing or tracking the UFO, and not one of those pilots has ever come forward. Wilder than that is 30 minutes after the sighting, men in uniform arrived at the school. The school principal assembled students and told them it was a weather balloon. Allegedly. Some were ushered into a separate room and told not to discuss what they had seen. The news footage shot by a news crew that day was never found, and no official explanation was ever given as to like what it was and why. It's most commonly cited that it was a highball, high altitude balloon, which is used to monitor radioactive fallout, because there was British nuclear testing happening at Maralinga at the time. It's kind of vague and no one really knows what this thing was this day.
And then also, wasn't it last year or the year before last where there were all those weird little orbs that were in New York?
Yeah.
And people were sighting all those orbs.
I think they were government. But Doll, can I say, if there is aliens and they're coming to Australia, we're a bit behind the 8 ball. We got to pick up some tech. We need to catch up to them. What if they come and take us
Well,
home?
I watched this documentary on UFOs. I think it was called Investigation Alien.
Okay.
I'm not too sure if that was the one, but essentially a bunch of people that used to work in government came out and was saying, yep, they definitely exist and they're far more advanced than we are as people. And apparently this woman was saying, and look, I don't know how true this is, but these aliens would come into her house at night in New York. They would levitate her up and she would go through the walls, through the ceiling, up into their UFO. And they would just do experiments on her and then take her back down. And there's people that have seen her levitate up.
Yeah.
Into the UFO.
And I don't think they say this so much about the pyramids of Egypt now, but like they talk about Mesopotamia and like all these worlds that may have once existed. Atlantis. Yeah, they talk about Atlantis, about these being these hyper-futuristic, and it could all just very well be folklore, but there's also the other side of the coin where it's like, well, did these places exist and were they put here by otherworldly beings?
Well, there is this whole notion that aliens live under the sea or they live in mountains and things like that as well. Who knows? I honestly hate this topic. It freaks me out.
It's scary.
And I just prefer to think, don't exist.
I would say...
Like, I like to go to the gym, I like to watch reality TV, and I like to go to bed. I don't want to know anything else.
I would say the topic of aliens is scarier than ghosts, because I'm just like, great, the afterlife is a thing. Whereas UFOs, it's like, oh my god, there's these beings that can come to us. We don't know where the hell they're coming from. And what are they going to do?
Ghosts are real.
Yeah.
I've seen many of them in my time.
Yeah. Scary.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Have I ever seen a ghost? I don't know that I've seen a ghost, but I've definitely felt things. And I think I've seen things when I was younger, like a child.
Well, that's apparently when you're most susceptible. People's imaginary friends are meant to be ghosts.
Interesting.
I actually went with my friend to do a psychic course back when we were younger, and they teach you that you want to draw up into the sky, like almost like use your body to draw up into the sky and almost create a line down into the other person. That's how you read other people's thoughts and get an idea of their background and history. Anyway, I was doing it with this lady that I didn't know, and I was like, I'm seeing kids in a playground and they're like wearing yellow shirts. And she's like, yeah, I'm a primary school teacher. Oh. Yeah, they wear yellow uniforms and navy hats.
That's crazy.
And I was like, yo. Psychic.
Psychic.
I was in Glebe. I was like, oh, it'd be so fun. Like, I'll get my reading done. And she's like, oh, your dad's really sick. And I was like, no, he's not. And she's like, no, he's really unwell. I was like, no, he's not, bitch. She's like, oh no, like he's gonna stop being able to walk. And I was like, what? And then my sister was like, and I just wanted to know about my love life. I was like, no, he's fine. Anyway, so when am I getting a boyfriend?
I'm dead.
And my sister's like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean? She goes, oh, you'll have to pay for another session. Your session's up if you want to know. And we're like, nah, she's lying.
Not her using your dad's health against you to get an extra buck. That's crazy.
Literally. And then, yeah, a few months later, he was diagnosed with MS.
That's crazy. What the hell?
Yeah, so she knew and she didn't tell me.
She didn't share that. Rude.
She should have said, shut up about your boyfriend. It's not going to happen for another 5 years.
Yeah. Here's the tea you need to know, you know? Doll, talking about other lives, should we talk about?
Like, let's find a different way to segue.
Doll, I want to talk to you about a woman that might potentially be living a second life herself. Anne Hathaway just announced her pregnancy on June 19th. She had said she announced it because she was starting to look a lot more noticeably pregnant. People were taking a lot of photos of her. She was kind of like, well, people are going to find out anyway. So she just kind of took the power back and announced it herself, which I think is great.
Wait, before you keep going, Dumois actually came out and posted that she was pregnant. I think it was 2 hours before Anne Hathaway ended up doing it.
I hate that.
I hate that too.
That's so dirty.
And they got so much hate for it. Why did you do that?
Yeah, I feel like Dumois, they're being held a lot more accountable for things these days. Like the information they share into the ether, which I think is good. But this is fulfilling a 400-year-old prophecy. Anne Hathaway is the name of William Shakespeare's wife. So he had 3 children and she's pregnant with her 3rd baby. Exactly. So Anne Hathaway's married to jewelry designer Adam Schulman, and I don't know if you've seen Adam, but he literally looks exactly like William Shakespeare.
Like Shakespeare?
It's crazy. Drew Barrymore actually brought up a side-by-side photo on her show, and Anne Hathaway's response was, it's kind of nuts, right? And then she added, it would be great if it was true, but even if it's not, it's still kind of great. And then, as well as this, Bella Hadid asked her about it in the 2022 interview cover story, asking if she's a time traveler. Anne Hathaway responded, that's actually the most adorable question ever. And he does look like William, doesn't he?
They look
uncanny. And you look at Anne Hathaway and obviously like a painted photo of Anne Hathaway.
They look alike too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some more parallels. Anne Hathaway was born on the 12th of November 1982, exactly 400 years after Shakespeare and his wife Anne were wedded on November 1582. Both Adam Schulman and William Shakespeare were both born in April, which is one of the rarest birth months statistically. And then
that's a reach.
That's a reach, I know. That's a reach. But you know what? I'm reaching. And then Anne Hathaway and Adam Schulman first began their romance in late 2008. Anne Hathaway was around 26 years old, and then Shakespeare's Anne Hathaway was also 26 when she married him.
That's quite old for Shakespeare times.
Yeah, old. And then the biggest parallel of all is obviously the kids that we discussed. So their sons are Jonathan and Jack, and then obviously the 3rd child, TBC. And then Shakespeare's Anne Hathaway bore 3 children.
What were their names?
Susanna, Hamnet, and Judith.
Wow, no one really calls their kid Hamnet anymore. That is such cool information. And so on brand for Anne Hathaway, 2006 version.
So on brand.
Speaking of Anne Hathaway, you know how you mentioned Bella
I know where this is going. Are you going to talk about Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik?
Yes, let's connect it all. We're connecting. Let's connect the dots.
Dead.
I want to talk about Perrie Edwards.
Perrie?
Is that her name?
It's Perrie.
Is that... Oh.
Perrie? Where the hell did you get that?
I think I've got dyslexia. It's so diagnosed, but I do this a lot.
No, can I say, Ali loves getting a name wrong. Like, you'll say something and I'm like, where on earth did you concoct that?
I know, I'm so sorry. I do it all the time.
I'm like, doll, you have no excuse. I remember one time you were like, I was educated in Thailand. I was like, yeah, you went to a British international school. Even less of an excuse to get the English language wrong. Dead.
I almost see a start of a word and an end of the word, and I just
mesh
fill in
it.
the middle.
Yeah. You know what? That's very common with doll, though. Like, sometimes my mum would say things, and like, obviously my mum, English wasn't her first language, and she'd say things, and like, I would naturally pick it up that way. But I think it's very much like a way, like a migrant family would look at something, like, and just kind of like make what they think would make sense of the English word from like what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, I love that for you and your story.
But it doesn't make sense for you.
But it doesn't make sense for me.
Maybe it's your 1/8 Italian in there, doll. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that quarter Italian sprinkled in. Perrie Edwards was part of Little Mix. They were the first band to win X Factor UK.
X Factor?
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
is that where they're from?
I was very shocked because I was like, surely One Direction won.
Oh, so they were in the same
Correct.
era as
They
One
were both.
Direction.
Yeah. So they were the year after One Direction. Can I just say, UK X Factor at that point were like pumping out stars. Isn't Leona Lewis from X Factor as well? We have Perrie Edwards, Jessie Nelson, and this is really predominantly who this story is about, Leanne Pinnock, and Jade the Wall. So it was originally a foursome. Jessie Nelson left in December 2020. She announced her departure, citing prolonged issues with mental health. She also mentioned previously in the past that she had attempted suicide, so like it was clearly a very much an ongoing battle with her mental health, and she bore the heaviest public scrutiny about her appearance. In February 2026, Jessie released Life After Little Mix on Prime Video, which is chronicling her transition into motherhood and the circumstances of her exit from the group. In it, she claims that she sat the girls down to explain how she was feeling and walked away feeling dismissed and alone. A bandmate reportedly responding, "Can I go now?" after she finished speaking. This has kind of provoked Perrie's response. Perrie told Jamie Laing, who's on the podcast Great Company, that she had once genuinely considered rebuilding her friendship with Jessie until the documentary, and then part of her withdrew again.
Interesting.
Yeah, she said, "I'm not saying she's a monster and everything was her fault, but take some accountability for your actions and realize that you were difficult and you had difficult moments."
Can I just say, Pierre really was going for it in this interview.
Perrie?
Sorry. Perrie. Perrie was really going for it in this
She
interview.
was.
Okay? She also said something about Zayn Malik. I actually have a little clip that we are going to watch together. But essentially she was saying, maybe Zayn Malik, there was a bit of a crossover between her and Gigi Hadid.
Gigi.
I'm just going to say it. So there was a bit of an overlap.
You go through a public breakup.
When you go through heartbreak,
Yes.
it is hellish.
It's the worst thing in the world.
You can't eat, you can't sleep, you feel abandoned, and you don't feel good enough. And then what makes it even worse is I feel like the world was then looking at me, laughing at me.
How do you stay sane through that?
I didn't.
You don't.
I had a mental BO2. I had like serious breakdowns. I did. I think I was depressed.
Was it as hard for Zayn as it was for you, do you think?
I think when you're... I'm just going to say it. So there was a bit of an overlap, you see. And I think when you're moving on with somebody else, you always get on better. When you're the one left behind, that's when it's hard. Because it's like, oh shit, they've left me for someone more beautiful than me, someone better than me. Whatever it is, that's how it felt at the time.
Yeah.
And then you have a song that they've written about you, but then someone else is in the video. It was one thing after the other. I just remember finding out about that, and it was like the nail in the coffin. And I thought, this is all getting a bit much. And then I started crying my eyes out, and then my dad started crying, and he was like, I don't know how I can take this pain away. And I'm like, you can't. Nobody can. This is hellish. Like, what is going on?
How did it change your understanding of love?
It made me realize that that was very unhealthy. I think now that I've experienced what healthy love is.
With Alex?
Yeah, it's so nice. It doesn't make you feel sick to your stomach all the time. It doesn't make you feel icky. It doesn't make you feel like you're not worthy or you're not good enough.
I just love how open and honest she was in this whole conversation with Jamie Laing as well. It felt like you were just talking to a friend and she was just telling you like what's happening in her life at the moment.
What's the update? What's the tea? I think as well, there were rumours swirling for like eons that Zayn was cheating on Perrie. They were a huge tabloid moment as well. I was a huge Little Mix fan. I loved them so much. I think it was so highly publicized, their relationship, which isn't easy to begin with, and then to layer on top of this, imagine your boyfriend leaving you for a literal supermodel.
And almost like when you're Australian and you're popular in Australia, or when you're British and you're popular in England, it's a little bit different to popularity in the US.
For sure.
Like, it feels like a different level almost.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he's left her for bigger things.
Yeah, and that's not
kind of how it might have felt.
Yeah, and that's not undermining US or Australian success, because it's so funny that you've brought this up. Because I saw this random comment on a Kylie Minogue video, and they were like, it's such a shame Kylie Minogue isn't like big in the US. And this person responded and they were like, why does that matter? That's like just so reflective of your view of fame. Kylie Minogue literally has an OBE. She's one of the hugest pop stars of all time, regardless of where she's popular. She's definitely seen as an icon.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean more from like an entertainment space. Like, Zayn would want to go with Gigi from like a career perspective as well, because in America they have way bigger budgets as well.
But I also think
and
as well,
you get way more money.
Yeah, I think as well though, Doll, from a One Direction perspective, I think they were globally like very successful, like even in the US. And I think that's carried on particularly to Harry Styles. Like, I think he's definitely had the most success off the back of it, and I think he's done a good job at maintaining that US UK kind of equilibrium. Like, he's very famous worldwide. I don't know that Zayn or Liam, Niall, I don't know that the rest have really, are they still relevant?
Zayn was getting there. The video that Perrie is talking about in that clip is the song Pillow Talk. It was his it was his breakout single
Yeah, it was also.
from coming out of One Direction. Perrie is saying the song was written about her, but in the music video, Gigi Hadid was in it, and that would feel really uncomfortable. I understand from an entertainment space, having Gigi Hadid in your music video, you're like, amazing, of course we're going to go with you.
Yeah.
People know Gigi Hadid over Perrie Edwards from Little Mix, like globally on a global scale. But it would still suck, especially when you're thinking that things are going on as well, and then all of a sudden they're together.
Yeah. Yeah, and like they hadn't really broken up.
I think it's also, there's little Easter eggs of how Zayn Malik is as a person. They've recently sort of been coming out. For example, he said in a podcast recently that Gigi Hadid got quite upset with him when he gave his daughter $500 for her first tooth. And she said, like, you know, that's obscene. Why would you give our daughter that? Like, she's going to become spoiled if you give her $500. And he said, and I quote in this podcast, "It's her first tooth and her mum gave me shit about it. At the end of the day, I work my ass off and should be able to give my kid what I want to give her." And I feel like for me, as a mother, first, well, not me as a mother, but as a mother, you would be a little bit like, why is there a disconnect in communicating with me?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like you can do this because you want to? So I feel like that gives a little insight into what he's like.
I also think as well, Doll, we actually get a lot of insight about Gigi's upbringing and Bella and Anwar, the whole Hadid family, from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You see Yolanda really taught them to work really hard for everything they have. And like some of the things she says sometimes are obscene. Like she said, like, Bella only has one horse, but she said it costs like $100,000 to look after one. If Bella wants a second horse, she can work to get a second horse. Gigi had been working since she was 15. Yolanda came from very, very humble beginnings. She was raised by a single mother in the Netherlands. I think you get a really good insight of the fact that, like, yes, Yolanda had money for them as they were growing up, but she always taught them to work really hard. And I feel like that's probably coming through in Gigi's sentiment as well, whereas Zayn's kind of going down the other path and he's saying, I have all this money, I want to spend it on my daughter, so let me spend it on my daughter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He also said in another podcast with Alex Earl that he's never been in love.
Oh,
What are your thoughts on
that's
that?
crazy.
Yeah.
How are you having a whole ass baby with someone you don't love?
I feel like what a kick in the teeth for anyone he's been
Yeah. And he was with Perrie Edwards for a very long time. A very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would hurt. I
100%.
think for me, even if you personally were like, actually, I don't think I have been in love, you'd be like, look, I've been with I've been with women that I've really appreciated my time with, and like, you know, just PR.
You can answer it a bit.
Never been in love.
Yeah, you can answer it a bit more fluffy. I think like love feels different with different people as well. Like maybe he just doesn't really understand what love is. Sad.
Let's talk about Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Shane has been fighting me on this because he's not a Swiftie.
So I haven't been fighting you on it. I just find the topic of Taylor Swift quite laborious.
Hater!
I am. I'm not a hater. I'm just not a lover.
So there's been a lot of talk and rumours that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to be getting married at Madison Square Garden in New York City, which, can I just say, she's a New Yorker. I don't know where he's from, but I feel like it's the perfect location.
Is Taylor Swift a New Yorker? She's based in New York now, but isn't she from the South? I thought that's why she did country music.
That's me doing that thing again where I make things up.
She's trying to weave a falsehood in.
She's from Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So no, not a New Yorker. It doesn't make sense. But I do think that Madison Square Garden is probably a great place for her to get married because they host big events all the time. And they can crowd control, and there's very easy ways to get in and out of the venue. But people are kind of fighting back on it because they have reportedly filed a permit to request to close the streets around Madison Square Garden. And people are saying, why does the everyday New Yorker have to deal with your street closures for 3 to 4 days when you could have just hired a private island and brought all your friends out?
Can I say though,
like,
Joel?
not bothered anyone else.
And I'm the last person to defend Taylor Swift, but like, they shut a street for a marathon for 2 days. What's the difference? They'd shut those streets for a Super Bowl or something akin to that.
It's meant to be shut from the July 2nd to July 4th.
Okay, so 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 3 days.
So several members of the Kansas City Chiefs, they've also booked hotels in that area on the same period. So it's definitely happening at this point in time, which is really cool. But something that's very interesting that's also happening in the sidelines, Blake Lively. Man, she's everywhere.
And can I just say,
Okay?
she is the person we can't escape. She is my sleep paralysis demon. She is not someone I'm very particularly keen to talk about. She's thirsty. She's thirsty.
She's a little bit thirsty.
Yeah.
So off the back of her falling out with Taylor Swift, by the way, they fell out. If you don't know why, I'm not going into it. Google it.
We have spoken about it. We've spoken about it.
Maybe 5 episodes ago.
Yeah.
She wasn't invited to the bachelorette and she's not invited to the wedding. Page 6 has reported that Taylor Swift extends an olive branch to Blake Lively with surprise wedding invite. And then 6 hours later, Entertainment Weekly reports Taylor Swift did not invite Blake Lively to Travis Kelce wedding, where they stand after falling out.
The teams have been working overtime.
The PR teams have been working
That'd be
overtime.
us.
Blake Lively, she is known to report to page 6. A lot of the time celebrities, and we have spoken about this before, but they release information to the public and they try and get things into the news cycle by putting things into publications.
Yeah.
So celebrities and their teams will have certain publications that they like to drop things to. Taylor Swift, she likes to do People magazine. That's a very popular one for celebrities. And that she also likes to do Entertainment Weekly. Blake Lively loves to drop information to page 6. She's done it before.
Can I just say, everyone has a connection to page 6. Always on the Real Housewives of New York, there's always some girl on the cast leaking something to the press. And it's always page 6.
But I just think it's so funny that Blake Lively has tried to create a narrative in this situation. Like, yeah, we're still friends. Like, I'm still in it. And Taylor Swift's team has just come out literally 6 hours later being like, nope. Like, not having it.
If there's one thing you can count on Taylor Swift to do, it's to be petty in the press. Like, she loves a press moment.
For sure. It work overtime for Miss Swift.
They do.
But you know what's interesting is a lot of people are saying, oh, Taylor Swift's not friends with Blake Lively anymore because of the cancellation. She's been cancelled amidst all this drama that's happening with her. It is known that Taylor Swift does not cut off friendships because of cancellations.
Crazy doll. Before we wrap, I just want to talk about something I'm really excited to watch really soon. Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. This one looks so good.
Excited.
So it's the 20th anniversary of Real Housewives. Can you believe Real Housewives started in 2006, by the way? We were still in high school.
Actually is insane.
Wild. So it's gonna have like the most iconic housewives, one from each franchise, I believe, or like the most popular franchises. So they'll have Vicky Gunvalson from Real Housewives of Orange County. They'll have Luann de Lesseps from Roni, Portia from Real Housewives of Atlanta, Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey, and then they'll have Kyle Richards from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
She's always in it.
Oh, she's an icon. I don't care. No one can make me hate Kyle Richards. Giselle Bryan from Real Housewives of Potomac, and then Lisa Barlow from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They really said we're gonna get the core girlies.
They got them.
These are the girls that single-handedly hold the franchise up.
Only person they're missing, Gina Liano.
A doll. The internationals never get included. They haven't given too much away in the trailer, but it looks like they might be going to 7 of the states via a road trip. One of the most interesting things is Nene Leakes is going to be coming back on Bravo for the first time in 6 years.
I miss Nene.
Same.
I miss her so much.
Bye, wig.
A white refrigerator.
I always say bye wig. I'm always like, bye wig. One of the focal points of the trailer was Ashley from Real Housewives of Potomac talking to Kyle about an exchange that her and Maurizio had on camera on the Real Housewives of Potomac, where she was saying she was like crushing on him, and she says like, I don't have a crush on your ex-husband, and she's like, technically he's still my husband. So I wonder what that's gonna be like. I feel like it's not gonna be that much drama, so I'm really excited.
When's that coming out?
So it's dropping August 9th, 9 p.m. Pacific time on Bravo, with episodes streaming the next day on Peacock. So we'll be able to watch it on Hey You in Australia.
Do you think it'll drop at the same time?
No, I think it'll be week by week.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope you have a great week ahead, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Mwah.